Hi everyone, my name is Rhonda Robson and thank you so much for joining me today on my channel. My channel, as you know, is all about leadership, and specifically today we're going to talk about decision making. In my last video, I talked about 3 things that I feel that leaders are missing today. I'm sure there's many more, but I just talked about the 3 that I felt were bubbling to the top during our pandemic currently right now with COVID-19. So one of those was decision making. I believe leaders are not making the hard decisions and they're taking the easy way out more often than they are doing what is right for the organization and for the people who work within it. What I want to do today is to discuss with you how I went about making that hard decision that I talked about in that video. And the decision that I made was eliminating a position. In an organization, there are 2 ways to make sure your organization moves forward. 2 simple things. And I'm talking about the balance sheet. There's income, you can increase income, or you can decrease expense. Well, right now during our pandemic, it's awfully hard to increase income. So we had to look really hard at our expenses. So how I went about making the decision to eliminate the position was I set my priorities. What were they at that moment in time? Was it that I need to sustain our organization? Was it I needed to keep the morale of our staff up because we were going through this pandemic? Was it that I needed to make sure that in the fall we met our budget requirements? There were many different obstacles and different priorities that I had to set, but my top 2 were to sustain the organization through the pandemic and be on the other side in a positive light, and 2, to increase or maintain our morale. Staff morale was really low and still is fairly low. It's a little bit better right now, but through this whole thing of shutting down, furloughs, not being able to be working in the way that we once were, working from home, all the different things that we did during the pandemic. My staff's morale was low and we were tired, and it was just taxing on all of us, like I'm sure it's been on all of you. I set those 2 priorities as how I was going to go about making the decision that I was making. So the next thing I did was I gathered facts. I needed to know about how much money I needed to cut out of our budget in order to be sustainable. My CFO and I went to work on discovering and projecting what our income was going to be and where we were going to get that income from. Then we took a good hard look at some of the expenses that we could cut at that moment in time. We weren't at the capacity of full level, so of course our expenses were going to be lower too as well. So we projected on what that was going to look like. So that was my first step, right? Well, technically it was my second step because I set the priorities first. Then what I did was I looked into the options that I had. What were the things that I could do in order to decrease expenses? So the first were our supplies. We weren't using as many, so therefore we didn't need as much. The next was looking at our utilities. We weren't using our utilities as much. So we really took a hard look at all of those things. And once we cut all of the stuff there, we realized we still had about $60,000 we had to eliminate. So as I was discovering that, I went to our team, our leadership team, and we had an open dialogue, and they knew that we were going to have to make some changes, and coming out on the other side of COVID was going to look way different, and I had been preparing them for this than it was going to be before we shut our facility down. I asked them to come to the table with different thoughts and opinions and options that they thought we could do in order to eliminate expenses. Some of the things they came up with was reducing benefits, reducing everyone's income across the board, so that way it would be all across the board, everyone take a cut, pay cut. 2, simple things of reducing staff. Things like how many people were on duty at that particular time during certain times of the day when we didn't need as many staff. Another option that we came up with was furloughing staff as well. And so we were looking at all different types of options. I gathered all that information then, and that's when I went to work. So when I narrowed this down, I came up with two ideas, the two big ones that were going to give us the most bang for our buck, and that was decreasing our occupancy, which meant increasing the temperature during the summer months and decreasing them during the winter months and things like that. That was really an easy one. The hardest one was, in order to come up with an additional $60,000, I was going to have to eliminate a position. The next decision that I needed to make was which one. So that was really a process of elimination, in the sense of, what do you need in your organization to make sure that on the other side of the pandemic, or on the other side of this situation, that you would still be able to move the company forward. And so as I narrowed it down, I made the decision to eliminate one of the positions, and then I had to follow through. I visited with my board of directors prior to making the final move to make sure my board was aware of the things that I was planning on doing. And once I got their support, then the next step was to follow through. I already knew that I was going to make this decision, and it felt wrong to wait too long in order to follow through on this decision. So what I ended up doing is, right after that board meeting, going in and having that really hard conversation. And I didn't beat around the bush. I didn't sugarcoat it. And I didn't not show emotion either. This was a hard decision for me to make, and this individual needed to know how hard it was, because it was going to be harder on them than it was on me. I know this type of decision is probably one of the hardest ones that any supervisor, any leader has to make. It's not going to always be this hard, but I do want you to know that there are people out there that can help support you. And if you're going through something right now, or a hard decision, I would be willing to help coach you through that process as well. Know that as a leader, sometimes when you're making these hard decisions, you feel all alone. And so just know that you are supported, and there are people out there that can help guide you through the decisions that you have to make. All right, so this is the time that I need to challenge you to be the best person that you can be, even when you're making hard decisions. Remember that you have a priority to your organization and a priority to the people that you employ in order to make the best decision for everyone. Sometimes you have to make the hard decision that is best for the greater good than it is sometimes for the one individual. And I don't say that lightly, because it hurts my heart to know that I had to eliminate a position. All right, bye for now. Next time we're going to talk about something much more happier than that. Next time we're going to talk about what it takes in order to improve yourself as a leader. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and to like and to click that notification bell. We all can learn from each other. So if you have anything that you would like to share, please let us know down below in the comments. All right, bye for now, but go out and be the best person that you can be, so that you can be the best leader that you can be. All right, bye. Thanks for watching, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell, so that way you can get notified when I have a new video up. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.